Hi, and welcome to Moral High Ground, where I talk about what's morally right. And hopefully, y'all can hear from me today. Because what I'm going to talk about is pretty much the troops type of thing. I'm talking about vets. I did a recording with a guy who is a Cold War vet. He fought in the Cold War against Russians, against the KGB, and on the American side, an American troop who's done this. So I'm gonna play. So this interview I did was outside, and he was a little inebriated, like most vets are, and so yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. So here's what was said. I need to find the right one here. Let's see. What the hell am I looking at? Let me see here. Let me go back. Oh shit. Give me a second here. Anyway, but this Cold War vet, he talks about how it was pretty much just fighting in the war and what was going on. And so this is my main focus here. Okay, now I see. Alright, here we go. So I'm here with an ex-soldier of the United States government. It's about to expose a top-secret operation. His name is Only by Bo.
Well, I never got to kill anyone, but I was a Cold War soldier, the worst kind of a war at all. And our basic training emblem was the California Condor, brought to extinction, near extinction, by the hand of man, and brought back to life by the hand of man. It was our basic training, the California Condor. Fly high, mighty condor.
I have to pause it there because it was hilarious when he did that. He was like, fly high. He did some stuff. But anyway. That sounds cool as fuck. So, explain it. What happened?
That was it. I mean, that was the explanation I got from Joe Sergeant. That was our emblem. That was our, emblem as basic training soldiers.
What was the Condor?
The California Condor. There were only 50 breeding pairs left in existence.
How many is there now?
There were a few thousand, but they've been going on the declining. They were near extinction.
So the condors are going extinct?
Yeah, the California condors. Not just any condors, the California condor.
What was the name of that operation you were talking about before? That was a top secret thing that only Oregon soldiers did.
Well, I'm not sure because none of the soldiers could talk about it because they signed non-disclosure agreements. So, it would be an act of treason if I asked them where they fought. But based on what I've learned on the news and stuff, I would assume it was Honduras.
So this was in 85 maybe?
No, I joined in 86. But then it was a little later, maybe 87.
Well, there was
86.
a guerrilla thing going on down south of the border around those times. So.
But then someone talked to me on the street and I heard they cut their supply lines off and starved them out. And who wants to die of starvation or have their children? So then they would talk to us. But then to come to the table, they would have to give us ammunition. But we'd give them food. They wouldn't starve to death. There was a way out of it. But it was every time they would give us ammunition and we'd give them food and medical supplies and talk to them, get to know them a little better, befriend them. And then when it was over, they had maintained their weapons so that we don't have to maintain their weapons. And now we have the same enemy and we just give them their ammunition back and we're all friends now. Instead of shooting at each other still.
So you mean you just traded weapons and the war was over?
But that's just what I hear on the street. Not one of the soldiers. That's just what I heard. Through the grapevine. But not one of the soldiers said that because they're not allowed to talk about it at all. And I wouldn't ask because it would be an act of treason to ask my fellow soldier. But I heard about it on the street.
So then, like that thing with Tulsi Gabbard is an act of treason against the United States of America, like going to meet with a dictator trying to stop the war.
I don't know, but like, if people trust you with the machine gun and they've got them too, you better not push their buttons and ask questions they don't want you to ask, right?
Oh yeah. So then, what's the most traumatizing thing that happened through your service time?
When I got out, when the Berlin Wall came down.
Yes, we were talking about that earlier.
Because I'd worked so hard, and then I wanted out so bad because I wasn't working hard anymore or learning anything. And then the Berlin Wall came down, and then I got out of the military. That was probably the most.
When the Cold War ended, it was 91, right?
Around the 90, probably 90.
And so you were there when not just the Berlin fell, but the other statues fell of the Soviet Union, or Russia now, or what do they call it now?
They told us that they would push us back to Spain within 3 days. And I was young, like I was 18 or 19, and I was like, no, we'll go crazy, we'll fucking fight to the,
Yeah.
And I mean, in their matter of fact, they know what they're talking about, but I'm the zealot talking back to the master while they're training us, But somehow they crumbled before they attacked us, because these are like our experts telling us they're gonna push us from Germany all the way to the Spanish Peninsula, and I'm arguing with them, and they're fucking college-trained experts, and I'm just a kid, a psychotic.
But okay, so.
But somehow David Hasselhoff came along, and also that other stuff.
So he mentions, two things. He mentions, he's mentioning David Hasselhoff because I brought it to his attention that he sung a song and the Berlin Wall came down. And he brought it up. That was a conversation we had before I started interviewing him. Told him it like months ago, and he started remembering it. And the other thing, the reason why I keep knowing dates that's very close to the dates he's talking about is because I focus on wars, because I want to know what caused these things and stuff so it doesn't happen again. And yeah, pretty much.
Right in the newspaper.
Well, like I said, David Hasselhoff ended the Cold War. You just gotta look at it. He made Berlin Wall fall. By just going up and performing. That's all they needed. A good American, one guy to step out and stand up for something.
But you look at what the Russians are doing to the Ukrainians now, and I would have had no idea this exists, and I had so much zealotry, like I knew about nuke bombs and stuff, but with the white phosphorus falling out of the sky, so you don't know where it's gonna go, and there's nowhere you can run from it. Wherever it lands, it's gonna burn.
Like napalm?
It's worse than napalm. It's white phosphorus. It's Willy Peter. It burns through flesh, through steel. I think steel. I'm not sure about that, but it's reputed to burn through everything. It burns through the grain until it stops burning. It burns through everything it touches. If it touches you, it's not going to stop burning until it burns all the way through. There's no way you can really put it out. It's going to keep burning.
Oh shit!
And that's why they have the suicide gun.
So that's better than nuclear.
So once that shit falls out of the sky, because that's why you heard about their suicide guns going off. Because there's really nowhere to run, and they don't want to die. They're going to die anyway.
You think that's something that would be fulfilled in the United States of American citizens?
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, do they do it to others? I mean, yeah, they wouldn't think twice if they got the upper hand, if they could, and they were going to win. And then once they're all in, why did they do it to begin? Why do we do it to begin? But then if something else triggers it, yeah,
So
And then people start getting, whoa.
What do you think?
And then everyone else has to do it.
What did you think when you came back to the States after the Cold War ended?
I wanted, money and a job and work at Tektronix.
So did all that come to pass?
No, Tektronix laid 5,000 people off, and all our technology went to shit.
Oh, fuck.
Like, I'd learned all this high-tech shit, and then when I got home, all our high-tech, because this is where we bought the oscilloscopes the military used and shit. But now they're not producing. They're no longer needed. Or
Haven't you found another company that works as good as they did? I mean, there's new ones now.
But they're gonna take the brightest. They're not gonna be. They're gonna look at. I mean, things. You know how like.
Things change.
Yeah. Like it's. Like I still have some expertise that could come in handy. Like, but. How do I get back in the groove? You know what I mean?
So, what's going on here is I mentioned how it feels outside of, coming back to the States after dealing with any kind of conflict or war. And he's, like most vets I talk to, disappointed. You're disappointed in a dream that never came true. Like you come out, you're thinking you're going to be glorified for the act of service you did. You're thinking that people are going to accept you, and you have doorways open because you were in the military. And in his case, being part of the tech world and the military, as well as some form of intelligence, it sounds like it. I think it's some kind of cover up. He tells certain things and then he changes up because he doesn't want no one to know, or he's not supposed to tell. And I go through this conversation with him once in a while. So anyway, there's between him and another military person I know, they were in the same type of field, and there's technology that we have now that they had back then. So I'm just saying this because aliens didn't create every damn thing, okay? We actually had cell phone stuff and things like that. So there's something he's going to talk about on here that back then was stupid or new, but now it's something real common and has evolved technological wise.
Like, because it wouldn't just be what I know. Then I have to go farther because they'd have to have something else I want to do with it, and I have to be able to show up every time.
But so it wasn't like a thing where it's like fuck the message. It was just you were trying to live and nobody.
And not have bullshit going on in my head while I'm doing the important. Because you know it's difficult.
So you went through difficulties though when you came back.
I mean, when I was in the military, it was like I'm on a top secret base, even though I'm not top secret, but like I am the electronics wizard. Like I have to make this shit work or we die. So like I'm left all alone there with my thoughts. When it comes in there, no one's fucking with my head at all. I have my attention completely focused on repairing this shit. Because like think about it, if everything else goes wrong,
It's a fail-safe.
I know how to use this shit.
Right.
Like, if it don't work right, I'm the next one to use it, just maybe as a punishment if it's a wartime situation.
Right.
If it don't work right for the people I send it in toward, I might be the next guy to use it.
What do you think America should know about your time in the service?
It's so crazy, dude. You gotta be like a slave. It's like, but you said you're gonna do that. You already know about like all this shit that's going on that you might die, but you're basically like a slave then. But you said you'd be a slave. You're a servant, but you're not a slave. You know what I mean?
And you lose your rights once you become a soldier.
Yeah, and if you don't believe in it for 1 second while you're in training, you're shit, man. You're out of there.
So when you were discharged,
And then when you're done with training, you might want out of there. If there's a war and you can't get out of there, and that's that's what I've heard later. I never got involved in that part. But you really, when you're training and shit, really have to want to be there. You really have to want to succeed at the training, or you won't. And that's not enough. You have to fit in, or they'll shit can you anyway.
Well,
They have to feel like you're gonna fit in. Not just enough to be able to do, but you have to fit in with the other people or shit or
so the point is, you were discharged. Which type of discharge were you? Honorably, dishonorably?
honorably.
So in a way, you were part of intelligence.
No. I was electronics. I was just a simple electronic technician. A special electronic device repair technician. I repair FLIR night vision, thermal infrared night vision, nuclear, biological, chemical arms.
So then you were on the front line when they first created the whole, how can I say, thermal?
Thermal infrared night vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the tweets. There was birds at this time. There was always freaking birds. And they're tweet, 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 tweet. So this was like around 5, 6 in the morning.
And so that was first created around then in the 80s.
But we were getting like leftover shit from the Air Force, you know. It was nothing I can't talk about. It's not top secret, but it's still pretty complicated. Like it would sense all molecular activity above Kelvin 0 is varying shades of white and green. The liquid nitrogen cooled Zener diode sapphire array system. But then it would have this little mirror that would bounce around with these little rubber stoppers, and one side it would hit the light amplification tube, and that it amplifies all the light by 10,000 times. Like one photon of light will go through the film and it'll emit like 10,000, and it goes through the next.
Well,
And then in between the two, between the thermal vision and the light amplification, it would bounce around and give you both images. So you're seeing heat and light amplification into one. Back then it was a cathode ray tube, but now it would be a computer screen. Yeah.
So pretty much everything you did, of course, it would be advanced and upgraded because of the whole.
Oh, it would have been upgraded before I learned about it. The enemy would have had more advanced stuff than what I was learning on some level, because there was some old and outdated stuff. There was nothing I could learn that I learned that I couldn't talk about. I'm not top secret with the technology. I'm only secret so I don't steal it.
How easy would it be?
Because it's expensive stuff.
How easy would it be for a normal American citizen to create some of the stuff that you were working on back in '86?
Well, Ozzy Osbourne's keyboarder in Paris could make a better device out of like recycled stuff from the old, I think it was a Cadillac. I mean, you could put it together yourself, but you'd need to be an engineer. I couldn't do that. You could get the components, I'm sure.
But then would you be able to run something by people to do that? Like
Even with the older equipment, you could probably put something together pretty good.
Well, then my thing was the reason why I asked that question was with technology being on such a high thing now, there has to be people citizens that would probably stumble across some of the technology that you had back in the 80s and try to perfect it for street purposes. And that's just something I'm thinking, because there's lots of, vets out there, and there's lots of people who's willing to try to.
Foreign nations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're not on it all already, then they're dead in the water, because even our adversaries have what I'm knowledgeable. I mean,
What's funny about when you talk to him, and all this is real people, and he's like every other vet I've ever known, including vets like relatives of mine. They always are like stuck at some point in their military service. They're either stuck at basic training, they're stuck in the first part of the war, they're stuck in the after the war, they're stuck in the middle of it. And no matter what phase that they're stuck in, they have a vice that they're taking. It's either they're drinking. I had an uncle that had a heroin problem. Another one that was like just a lot of them had different issues, and it depended on the war. Most of the relatives that I had were Korean War, and one was a Vietnam vet. He drank a hell of a lot and did other crap probably that he didn't want to do in front of me. But it's a tragedy that here we got soldiers that did all these things for America, but yet they're not glorified, and then they're stuck in this mindset. This individual's a good man, but yet he's thinking that just by listening to the conversation, he's on some serious military knowledge that he has. That sounds very. It was very beneficial in the Cold War to supply the troops with some kind of weaponry or some kind of thing to be able to detect the enemy. And so I think America is flawed by letting these people go and not reassuring that their life will be stable after they get out of service. And that's just my thing. The GI Bill can only do so much for certain people. But anyway.
What do you got that you think would work that would help the American people with the knowledge you got? As a soldier.
I mean, realistically, like it's gonna make you want to puke the first time you ever have to kill anything, like whether it's a chicken or whatever. But then it gets easier. But then if it gets too easy, the rest of the tribe will notice you become sick, and they'll have to take action. Like they'll have to, because it's a sickening thing to kill at all. I mean, even for food, if you buy it at the store, like I typically do, it's really unnatural to kill my own food. And imagine you were doing that to human beings, but you had to be tough when you did it, but you just wanted to puke, but they're still shooting at you. You know what I mean?
So you don't got time to puke in the middle of the war.
Yeah, or something like that, and you're nervous. Maybe you did puke already or piss yourself, but if you don't keep doing it, they're gonna, you know what I mean? It's not the embarrassing thing. It's just, I guess, whether you live or not through it all.
One of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
I've never been there myself. I've never been in an actual combat, but I'm imagining. You know what I mean? I'm in my mind.
But one of my favorite scenes in Rambo 3, I think it was Rambo 3 or 2, when they sit there they're talking to the chick on the boat, you know what I mean?
It's Rambo
The one with the chick that dies is hot as fuck, and she's Asian. Anyway, the line was like, to survive a war, you gotta become war. Do you believe that to be true?
I don't know. I mean, but I think once you get too good at the things that are like that, once you don't puke anymore and it's become easier and easier, and you start to enjoy it, then maybe at that point you're becoming sick. You know what I mean? Like once you actually got past the physical shit and it's more comfortable, and then you start liking it, then maybe at that point you're sick. You need help. I mean,
So one
even.
more question, or two more questions.
Because I can only imagine where it would go. Like, when does it end? It only ends when they kill you. I mean, when are they going to forgive you for killing their relatives, even in an act of war?
Yeah, that's crazy. My question is this, okay? So, do you think, because right now, most of the country, guys ain't like it was back in the day, where they fought for something, stood for something. Do you think that the best way to get soldiers will be out of the prisons?
Well, in the 80s, they couldn't get an army together. But then they realized that juvenile delinquents and criminals will still kill people. So they recruited the ones they could more trust. They could be trained. And if you don't go along with the training, you fail. But then suddenly they had an army. A big.
Oh, I'm wearing shorts.
gas.
Oh, well, yeah. Fucking thing was cutting into me, man. It, like, cut me right.
I mean, like I said,
I'm talking about I had my leg snapped in two places, so I had this cast thing on for 2 weeks and a half, and that's what we're talking about right there. Because people are tripping like you're not wearing it, but anyway.
on that one.
That's
That's
real, man. But, yeah.
I mean, but it depends. I mean, it's like the Dirty Dice. In the end, one of Telly Savalas' guys had to kill him. I mean, not Telly Savalas, but the character he was portraying. I mean, he was still that guy, but he went too far even with the enemy, you know what I mean? Like, in the end, like, there's still that conscience with America, even like with the movie like The Dirty Dozen, where you might do something like that. There's still a code or something.
Code of honor.
Yeah, a code of honor. You know, you would think you're a criminal and there's no rules, but now there's a lot more rules. I don't know, I haven't been there as an adult, but I can only imagine.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Okay, so just to recap this whole interview, there's lots of things that were said, but this is important that and I've always said this, that we have to listen to our elders and things like this. In this situation, Bo, the military soldier, is not too far older than me, and yet at the same time was put in a military situation where he had to be like pretty much a Cold War soldier, like, and there's a lot more to his story and a lot more to everything else. But my main focus here is that people like this with all this knowledge is just running around the country, not getting the honor and respect of American heroes that are forgotten, ignored, and were never acknowledged properly. And yes, there's some that get decorated and so forth, but there's so many other ones that helped them on the team, you know, and they should all be decorated and respected too. And so the last question I asked was about, one of the last questions was about prisoners being soldiers, and he mentioned that in the 80s they did try this to build an army and actually did and succeeded and achieved, which might make a lot of sense to why so many people were incarcerated in the 80s. And so, wow, this is the good stuff, and hopefully you guys drew something from it. My point is this, you know, war usually is old men talking and young men dying. And in this case, the person I interviewed here was, as he tells you, he said he was a teenager trying to talk to higher ups and stuff. And this is something I hear again and again from vets. Like they're a teenager and they're dealing with something, and man, then you even see when they got video evidence of themselves as a teenager in military service, it's like, whoa, who's that guy? You know. But what happened there trained them for life. Trained them with a skill that could protect them and anybody else around them. In a way, it's kind of good that there is military soldiers that are out there that you don't know about that could protect you if something happens, if shit goes down. They're your neighbor, they're your, you know, girlfriend's brother, whatever, you know. And this is a good thing, but we need to bring it back and understand that they deserve respect too, and hopefully fight for what's right in a godly sense, because even God had his best soldier, and that was David, King David. And we just need to fight for what's right and find a way to honor and respect those who've done so much for the people. With this being said, this has been Moral High Ground. Peace be with you all, our Go Team Avenger, because Avenger Brothers behind me. And blessings upon you guys always. Until next time. Peace.